to Robert Frost Charter School, one of my two, and I'm planning to have the other one hopefully come in next year. Very happy with the school. Let's talk about why the school was created in the first place.
Sure. The school was created by a group of parents and educators who really wanted to explore other approaches to educating children. I think there's been a lot of buzz in the news and media about how maybe our schools might need to change a little bit, become a little bit more innovative, look to the future, and really match the skills that we're teaching our children with what life is going to be like when they finish school. And we went to a presentation by the Commissioner of Education, Virginia Berry, that was held at the Economic Council at the Tech Village there, and she was really just very inspiring, talking about the goals of New Hampshire moving forward in education. And she talked about the charter program and really put out like a call to arms, that we are looking to expand this charter program. We'd like to see exploration and innovation in education across the state of New Hampshire. And so we were really just very inspired by that and decided, why do we need to wait for education initiatives to happen in the south of the state and then get imported up? Why can't we just come together and really create a program that's unique to our valley, to our area, that really meets the needs of our population? And so that's how it all came about.
Has it been a whirlwind?
Oh,
I can't even imagine. Like every time I turn around, you guys are doing new things, and it being a whole new experience, not only for the kids but for you. And the doors are wide open. I mean, it's just such an amazing place to see, the kids in there and like really learning, and parents have an opportunity to get in there and volunteer. You have the safety checks in place as well for this charter school. So, you've taken like some of the best stuff out of schools and stuff that the teachers at the regular schools want to do, but with smaller class sizes, you're able to actually do. Let's talk about some of the assessments, because I know a lot of people like, well, it's not a traditional school, so how do you know that my child's learning? How, when they go on to Kennett or wherever they're going to go, do I know that they have these skills or these grades?
Yeah, the way we approach things is really quite different. What we've done is we really have our foundation in the Montessori approach to education, and we also bring in project-based learning. Both of those approaches to instruction are very hands-on and child-centered. We're really trying to meet the needs of each individual child and help each child move forward at a pace that's right for them. So we've got multi-age classrooms, and so children can really access materials that they need to learn whatever level they are. So if you've got a first grader who's really excelling in reading, they've got access to all kinds of language materials in the 3rd and 4th and even 5th grades, if that's where they are. And a child who's maybe struggling in reading in an older grade can always use the materials from those younger levels to help build their skill, but all in the same environment, so nobody's getting pulled out, nobody's feeling, that they're not that they're not a part of the classroom community because they're not where all their peers are.
You're really bolstering up where they're lacking.
Exactly, and the way we do that is from those materials that we use. So the teachers are trained to watch each individual child to see how they're using the materials we have in the classroom, to understand what that child is doing by just watching them work. So it's authentic assessments that we're using. We use portfolios to track progress as well. And so when students leave our school, the parents and any school who will be receiving them will have a very detailed list of exactly what skills that child has mastered. So say, for example, instead of getting a C in algebra, our child might come with a list that says, they are able to multiply and find, the missing number. So an actual teacher
is going to be so excited about this because they'll be like, oh, this is exactly what I need to focus on, or help this child continue their education. Now, if I were to walk into the classroom, what would I see?
The classroom, it's a very different atmosphere, and I think you can speak to being one of the early parents here coming in. You walk into the classroom and it looks like nothing like any traditional classroom you've ever been in. The children are busy. Some are sprawled out on the floor with materials, some are standing at tables. There's usually different children zigzagging across the room as they walk to get whatever material they need and come back to their spot. The teachers are sometimes hard to spot in the crowd because they are in there with the kids. Sometimes they're on the floor with the kids. They're sitting at a table with the kids. They're usually working either one-on-one or in small groups. So the classroom has a constant hum about it. It is not a quiet place. It's not a crazy loud place either, though, because every
it's
child
about
is
average when you walk in and you see all these kids doing different projects. What I've liked about the Robert Frost Charter School is the social aspect. That's given my child the opportunity to mentor and be mentored by other kids and work together alone with the guidance of the teacher.
Yes.
So it is about interpersonal relationships, and he's become more open, a lot more communicative.
Absolutely, that's one of the advantages of having multi-age classrooms. I think our goal in the Robert Frost Charter School is to have a 1st through 3rd grade classroom, as well as then a 4th through 6th grade, and then 7th and 8th grade as we grow. But when we have right now we've got 1st through 4th grade all together, and it's one gigantic environment. We've opened up the partition wall between the 2 classroom spaces, and so all the children are together. And we do see those younger children really living up to the expectations of the role model of the older children, and those older children really taking the younger children under their wing and helping them work through. So it's really not at all uncommon to see 2nd graders and 4th graders working together on a project. And that has been, I think it's really created a culture of community and caring in the classroom, which has really been fabulous.
Yes, and I think that's one of the themes actually early on in the school, and you also had like a music festival of promoting peace out into the community.
Yes.
And it's really nice to see the kids interacting in a peaceful manner. Now, disagreements happen, and how are those handled?
The teachers try to support those as much as possible. So one of the other advantages of the way that our classroom structure is less teacher-driven and more child-driven is that teachers are able to sort of walk around, see what's going on. When they sense some tension or conflict with students, they try to let the kids work it out, but the teachers are there. They're overhearing what's going on, and they're able to guide those students and to make better choices in how they interact with one another. So not only are the teachers learning the students learning their academics as they move through the school day, but they're also learning the social skills, the collaboration skills, the communication skills under the guidance of the teacher. So they're not left to their own devices to figure that out at recess. It's all incorporated into the school day.
Okay. And now, will you explain a little bit more about how the child plans their day or their week?
Sure, yeah. It might sound a little crazy to think about, we've got 43 students in the school right now and everybody doing their own thing. It might sound completely chaotic, but really it's not. Every child has their own work plan, an individualized work plan. So the teachers work with them to figure out what did they do last week, what do they need to do this week, sort of guide their progress as they move through. The students actually take responsibility for their own education in this way. So what they do is they mark down every bit of work that they've done that day, every task that they've completed, every skill that they've been practicing, and they chart it out on their work plan. And the teachers check in periodically, make sure that they're not doing too much. If a student is doing only math for 3 days in a row, the teacher might say, okay, it's time to really get out of that comfort zone and do a little bit more in your language studies. Spanish is also something that we have incorporated into the school day, so the teachers make sure that each child has done a little bit of Spanish each week.
Okay.
As well as all the other subject areas. So the teachers really are the behind-the-scenes guide, making sure that the students get a very balanced education, and then that work plan is really what the students use to track their own progress and feel accountable for their own learning.
And I love that, taking on the responsibility. I would encourage parents to maybe trust your kids a little bit more with that, because some parents are like, no, they wouldn't do well in that environment. And it really is, it's nice to see them just mature into taking that responsibility on.
Absolutely.
So don't underestimate those kids, they don't have to be told every second of every day what to do.
That is feedback we get from a lot of parents, is I didn't realize my child was capable of doing this. And it's a wonderful thing when you give the child the wings to really be able to take that responsibility.
Okay. And now you have a Facebook page.
Yes,
that people can get more information. And we also have the website coming up. Actually, it's coming up right now. You also have informational sessions, because you have big plans for the future, including expansion plans.
Yes, we do. We will be expanding within 5 years when our charter comes up for renewal. We will be up to 8th grade. We'll be kindergarten to 8th grade. Right now we're 1st through 4th. Next year we're adding our kindergarten and our 5th grade, which is exciting. And then every year after that we'll be adding an additional grade until we get up to 8th grade.
And the facility where you are right now, will that be big enough to handle the new grades?
Yes, right now we are right next door to Friendly's in the old Timberland space, for folks who remember that. And we are in the front part of that building there. And we will be expanding further down the building, we will definitely be there for the next 3 to 5 years, and we've been really happy there. It's a very nice central location. People from all over the state of New Hampshire can come to our charter school, so you don't have to be a Conway resident, as long as you're a New Hampshire resident, and that is important. You do have to be a New Hampshire resident.
Okay, we're actually looking at some of the informational sessions.
Oh, fantastic.
And because you guys really want to have a big sample of the whole population of New Hampshire. It's not one particular type of family, it's not one particular town, and that's what these sessions are all about. So let's talk about some of the informational sessions and how it works, as well as the open house.
Okay, sure, yeah. Our informational sessions, we have one coming up February 6th. At the charter school at 1 p.m., another one that evening down in Tamworth. Then we have one in Meredith February 7th, and then another one back at the charter school on February 13th. Okay. So at those information sessions, you'll learn a lot about what a charter school is, how our funding works, a lot of the nitty-gritty of the school, what our educational philosophy is, how we measure student learning, that sort of thing. And then we also have open houses, and those are all, of course, at the school in the evenings, and the next one is coming up on February 13th, and there you can really come into the classroom space. You can meet our teachers, you can see the learning environment. At the one on the 13th, we actually have students who will also be there, and they will be doing their thing as they do during the school day. One of the things that I've been very amazed at is that our students love to be at school. They do not want to leave school.
My son was the one that reminded me to come back for the open house. He's like, Mom, we have to do open house. I'm like, going back to school? Okay, going back to school. And he was so excited. He's like, I wish I could do this more often. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
Yeah, we did ask for volunteers who would be willing to come in the evening to do schoolwork, and I had to turn students away. So that was very surprising. And that's another thing that parents are constantly telling me, I can't believe my child is making me get out the door to get to school.
I'm thinking 24 hours, we could have sleepovers. That's it. He loves it. So the open houses are a little different, though, because you do have to have a reservation.
Yes, because we are trying to manage the number of bodies in the learning environment there. We do ask that you make a reservation in advance for the open houses. The information sessions, anyone can come, but for the open houses, if you could email info@Robert Frost Charter School with the subject line open house sign up, then we can make sure that we get you on the list for that open house session.
Okay, good. And I'll update that graphic too, so when folks look at that as it rotates through the station news, that information will be up there. And the website, of course, is what? Where can they find it?
Sure, it's www. and it's a long one, robertfrostcharterschool.org.
That's not bad. I've seen worse. That's good. And they also have an email there for folks. So informational sessions, definitely check it out. You can learn about how you guys are dealing with standardized tests, as they go through the process, because they are required.
Yes, we are a public school. It's free, tuition-free public school for the state of New Hampshire, so we are required to do the standardized testing as required by the state. We choose to not do any more than what is required. So our standardized testing starts in 3rd grade and continues up through 8th grade. Okay,
and so these sessions, again, you're going to cover how many kids will be in the school, the expansion plans, the eligible towns, of course, anyone in New Hampshire, tuition-free, the enrollment process, how they're going to go through.
Yes.
It is an application.
It is a process, yeah. You can go to our website, you can download the initial application for enrolling for next year, fill that out, send it in. We do need it in the mail. The postmark is important. And the deadline for the applications is March 1st. Okay. So get that initial application in by March 1st, and then the way that it works from there is we only have a certain number of space available at each grade level or at our school each year. And so if we get more applicants than space that we have available, we are required by law to go to public lottery. Okay. And so then, just like you imagine, you've got the raffle type thing, you've got someone pulling names out, completely random, and that becomes our enrollment list for next year, and then a more in-depth application.
And the deadline is coming up, so get on it, robertfrostcharterschool.org.
Yes.
And you can find the enrollment process there. Jen, thank you so much. We could talk for another hour, because I'm just so impressed with this school. We've been so happy with it, and I'm looking forward to many more years.
Well, thank you
Can I convince you to go through high school then? Is that possible?
I've been hearing a lot of buzz about that. I don't know.
All right, we'll hold off for a little bit. She's like, oh my God. But thanks again for joining us.